Hello, welcome back. It's been quite a while. I'm sorry this video has been taking so long to make. I had a lot of campaign work to catch up on, and it's eaten quite a lot into my other activities that I haven't had time to make any videos. So let's get cracking. I'm AC Keeble, and if you'd like to see more of my adventures on YouTube, follow the link to subscribe to my channel and of course my blog ackeeble.co.uk. And let's see, oh yes, to begin with a catch up on the election. Now, I was meant to do this video last Saturday, but I didn't get the time to do it. To begin with, I'd like to talk to you about my canvassing duties working from a street stall in Romford. It was my first official duty to assist my MP and candidate Andrew Rosendale, who will be fighting for the interests of Romford, and this will be his 6th term running as our MP. I might not have been making videos as such, but I have been getting in the spirit of the general election in other ways as well. For starters, let's take a look at social media. My campaign has been interspersed with the general election for autism advocacy by promoting my mission to support the advancement of autistics to achieve their own aspirations. The Havering Conservatives Facebook group shared a photo of me at the street stall in Romford, where I shared this post, busy talking to people to all walks of life. The response is absolutely positive, and as usual I was calling out autistic conservative support aspirational Aspies, and of course, as you know, we have bright ideas with infinite imagination, and that is a good reason to support the Conservatives for autistics. The responses that I got to this was quite positive. Not just the post itself, but there is of course one thing that I have had to put up with, which is just the kind of thing that I get outside of my political activities, where I am trying to show the best qualities of being an autistic and working for an employer. And one thing that really got on my nerves was from this guy called, well, I won't mention any names, but he has been quite condescending, and as always, the best way to deal with condescension is to backchat that person by showing and pointing out how rude they are in their, well, use of words to demean and say, well, you're autistic, so your intelligence is invalidated, and being that I'm able-bodied and I work with autistic people, I've got better judgment than you. Well, that is just disgusting and pathetic. What good can this man do for autistics anyway? His name's Darren, and he has written quite a lot slating Andrew Rosendale's voting record, which of course I acknowledge, those are Andrew's own decisions, but what I don't like is people backchatting me with negative rhetoric, pointing out the flaws in my disability as if I'm, well, of no value and useless to people. Fellow autistics, don't fall for that. They are absolute arsewipes. I have a word for socialists who think that individuality is insignificant. I call them stinking socialist skunks, and considering how indecent they are towards people who disagree with them, they really do deserve it. Now, by being a Tory and an autistic, I am speaking up for myself and showing the intellectual capabilities of using your own skills. And one useful way that I have used it is showing creative ways in which the postal votes could be changed. Here's an example. I was out delivering the postal votes with my friends to our constituents. Now, I noticed while doing the postal votes, they eated it very much into our campaign schedule, and it took up so much time that the thought occurred to me it was time to start going into electronic postal voting. And there are two ways in which that can be achieved. One is for those with internet access, whereby you put a set of questions and information to be put to that person, to the Electoral Commission by email to register your vote for your candidate. And that will increase secure votes for a candidate without any potential electoral fraud. And for those who don't have internet access, they can be given a tablet which is ferried out by someone from the Electoral Commission, and this is done with a secure tablet, done only specifically by that person with the tablet, to be sent to an addressee, which contains a secure mechanism to allow that person to vote remotely. And of course it would have to be done within a fixed time frame. So, as you can see, autistics working for the Conservatives show up bright ideas, whereas autistics within socialist groups like Labour are, well, just indulging in pity parties, constantly being made to moan about the complaints about how miserable they are living with their disabilities, as if no one cares. So by promoting useful ideas and suggesting creative solutions to problems, I raise the positivity levels of living with autism to make people feel good about themselves. And it would be much better if there were positive aspirational autistics rather than, well, pitied, pathetic creatures, as we see generally displayed by the media. Now, let's move on to another suggestion about promoting the aspirations of autistics. One thing that I've got plans to work with members of the GLA, specifically with my Conservative friends within the GLA, is to find creative ways to bring job opportunities and reform the labour market for autistics. Not all autistics are actually able to elaborate on their past when they've been living in difficult situations and they're not able to sell themselves effectively. So we need to change the way in which they take job interviews, whereby instead of the usual suit and tie and dressed up smartly, they can go to the manager and be shown how to work on a job trial. And they would be allowed to wear things that they feel comfortable in, because some autistics tend to have, sensory issues and feel comfortable only in certain types of clothes. This will open the doors to them to get more chances of employment. And of course you can also effectively modify the space that they're working in, just like what I'm doing with mine, where I work remotely from home and make, well, relatively few trips to certain places. The report will be completed after the election, and with high hopes for the future, I intend to liberate autistics from welfare into good job security. I myself have lived with the frustrations of that. My current job is perhaps the first proper full-time job that I'm working in. Before that, I'd spent so long receiving welfare benefits that I've lived with the same kind of mental health issues that autistics have, living with being on the dole, with minimal disposable income, which to me is like peanuts in a poor man's tin. And of course there's also the standards of living for which they have. I once back-chatted a really condescending person whilst I was manning a street stall at another election 2 years ago, where he told me to throw away my blue rosette and find another party or give up politics altogether. I said that the social housing that he suggested that I should enrol for was like a concrete toilet. And it is, considering the build quality of social housing. It's not built, most of it is ancient stock that has been, well, never really given any consideration to the human occupants that will live in it for a long term. And it can be difficult for some people to find happiness within that home. Now, let's move on to another thing. Anyone been to the Havering Daily's website? I'm sure some of you have got local online news websites, which for your area, where your MP is speaking directly to constituents, and of course voters are creating their own electoral videos to be suggested to suggest to your reasons why you should vote for them. I myself have created one. I have one on the Havering Daily with a really nice picture of myself, and it also contains reasons for my decision to vote Conservative, along with the video that I was asked to make. In the video, I've written a little sub-article which reads, with £74 million pledged to support the autism community services, and with support from bright and affluent autistics like me, I believe that actual autistics in power can make neurodiversity succeed in work, including support for environmental technology creatives that can build an eco-friendly Britain backed by hundreds of millions of pounds and reduce regulation on innovation outside the European Union. One thing I would like to point out about that is something from the National Autistic Society. They heaped praise on the Conservative Party manifesto after they pledged 74 million quid. And they also wrote 5 other small posts on their Twitter feed. Now this got a lot of slating from members of the autistic community, specifically those who have been harmed by Conservative Party policies, but as an autistic conservative, I was very much in appraisal of them, because with all these negatives coming from autistics over the years, I thought it was a good opportunity for people to hear something positive about investment in autism-related services. And by showing these things, it showed that the Conservative Party cared. But the NAS's Twitter feed got full of so much negative vitriol that they back-chatted with calls to boycott NAS if they carried on supporting the Conservatives. Now, Labour have a few positives about autism themselves, but I think it's unfair to be, well, for the autism community to support Labour in a way like that, but not appraise anything positive out of the Conservatives manifesto. When I look at that, I think, well, is this all autistics can think of themselves in terms of what political parties they give preference to? Just the negatives that they've lived with, but refuse to accept anything constructive or better for themselves? Well, if that's all they can think of, then I don't see what good the future has for autistics. I'm just scrolling through my Facebook feed for about the responses they got. One thing that I wrote on my Facebook feed some time ago was how, well, the Labour supporting autistics don't really seem to have any aspirations. Now, what good can Labour do for the disabled by dictating what they can receive in welfare handouts? That's not right. They don't understand the aspiration of autistics like me because they insist on welfare or poor pay policies to make sure the disabled rely on the state for their care. Me, I engage with the Conservatives so that I can have whatever I desire to make me and my other fellow autistics valued and useful to their fellow citizens. Now, I know some people will be disagreeing with me on that, but, well, if all you can think of is negativity, then you need to have the time to start feeling positive about yourself and to achieve the best of what you can do for yourself. If you can't let go of that negativity, well then what help is there for you? And I'm glad to say that I'm a positive aspirational autistic with a bright light to shine on the world. These are some stickers, my Autistic Conservative logo, and I intend to start distributing them more often on street stalls to people. So if ever any of you ever see me on a street stall, feel free to pick them up and I'll give one to you. Well, this coming to the end of the general election, with polling day only 4 days away, I suppose it would be in the best interest for you to subscribe to my blog and find your own badges and Autistic Conservative stickers, which are available on my print-on-demand store on zazzle.co.uk. Okay, now, right, for those of you who aspire for betterness as an autistic, well, for those autistics out there who aspire to be better, go out and vote Conservative on December the 12th. Now, if you want to find out about my other adventures post-election time, subscribe to this channel and my blog at acq.co.uk. I will carry on with my work for the party and with my Conservative friends, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Right, bye.